Hi, I'm Hal Aronson with We Share Solar. Today I'm going to show you how to use the clamp amp meter. This is the clamp amp meter. It's called a clamp amp meter because it's got a clamp that can go around a single wire to measure amps. We're also going to use it to measure voltage, and we're also going to use it to measure continuity, which is what we use when we do the quality control on the Solar Suitcase. So first let's measure amperage. So to measure amperage, we need either power coming in or power going out. And on the Solar Suitcase, we don't have a home run cable plugged in, so we're going to measure power going out to a load, to this light. So the system's on, and I'm going to turn the clamp meter to 2 amps because I expect this load to be less than 2 amps. So I put it to 2A. Now this is set up for AC. I'm going to push the select button, and that will get it set up to measure DC. See the little DC written there? And then see how it's got a value here on the screen? I'm going to zero that out by hitting the 0 button while I have the meter close to the wire we're going to measure. When you measure amperage, you only want to measure one wire. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our clamp around the wire, therefore it picks up the electric magnetic field, and watch what happens to the value when we turn on a load. So I've turned on a light, and we now have 0.39 amps. And just to show you that we can look at that, I'll take the hold button, hold it for 3 seconds, and that lights up the display so that we can see it well. Okay, so that's amps. Next, we're going to measure voltage. To measure voltage and also continuity, we need leads. So the meter comes with 2 leads, red and black. We put the black lead into the black port. We put the red lead into the red port. That's pretty straightforward. And then to measure voltage, what we're going to do is select volts on the meter. And this can be either AC or DC. So right now, it first goes to AC voltage. And what we're going to want to do is set it for DC. So I'm going to hit the blue select button. And now you see that it says DC on the screen. So then I'm going to measure the battery volts at the charge controller, just as an example. But before I do, I find it easier to use the meter if I pull off the protective caps. So you can just pull these right off. This exposes more metal, which makes it easier to use. And you put the positive in red on the positive side of the circuit and the black lead on the negative side. So I'm going to do that. Red on the battery positive and black on the battery negative. And then let's take a look at the meter. And you see it says 13.09 volts, which is about what we'd expect with a lithium battery. If I wanted to have that lit up, all I have to do is hit the hold button for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and we get this nicely lit up. So that's how you measure voltage with the clamp meter. Finally, we're going to measure continuity. Now, continuity is also the same symbol we use for resistance. So you go to that resistance symbol, and then what we're going to do is we're going to hit the select button until we get to the continuity sign, which is the thing that looks like a sound symbol right there. I hope you see that in the corner. I'll put on the light so you can see that better. There you go. That's the sound symbol for continuity. And to measure continuity, you need to make sure there's no energy going into or outside of the system. So I turn off the main switch, I remove the battery, and as you can see, we don't have any solar coming into the system. So the system now has no energy going in and out. The only energy will be coming from the meter to allow us to measure continuity. So let me go ahead and make sure it's set up for continuity. I do this by touching the 2 probes together. You hear that audible sound? That tells us that it's set up for continuity. This tells us that there's a connection between the 2 sides of the circuit that we're measuring. So let's first do battery negative from the battery socket. It doesn't matter which color you use in which port, because it's just measuring whether or not there's a connection. And now I'll go to battery negative on the charge controller. And you hear that sound. That means that that's wired properly. Now to show you how to measure the positive, watch this. This is the positive side of the battery socket. And this is battery positive on the charge controller, and we get no sound. That means there's no continuity between these 2 points of the circuit. And that makes sense because the main switch, which controls the battery, is off. Let's turn the main switch on and see what happens. Now let me go back to battery positive. and now I get a sound, and that tells us that we actually have continuity between the switches doing what it should do. I'll do one more really quickly. Let's go from load negative on the charge controller to the negative side of the load socket. And again, we have continuity. Okay, my friends, that is how you use the amp clamp meter to measure current, voltage, and continuity. Thanks for watching.